And we turn now to Maryland's Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings. Congressman, thank you for coming. I must say, Senator Schumer seemed reluctant to talk about this whole question of this divide that seems to have developed between the police and people in the black community. But this is a very, very serious thing, which I know the senator would agree with that part. But I want to ask you, do you see what's happening in New York? Is that indicative of what the situation is around the country? Do you see that spreading from New York? Where do you see this going? Because it is an extremely complicated and a very difficult issue.
Let me first express my condolences to the Liu family, and I'm grateful for all that policemen do for us all over the country. It is a national problem, no doubt about it. Keep in mind that these protests, Bob, took place all over in every state, and even in London. People are feeling as if justice is not meted out the same way everywhere. They look at these police tactics, and they look at situations where deadly force has been used, and they see African American men in particular dying. One survey said that of the 400 or so deaths from police officers with guns, that 96% of them were white officers killing African Americans. That's a problem. And so I think what we have to do is we have to tone it down a little bit and try to create an atmosphere where police, community are working together to solve problems, and bring some solutions to these problems. Keep in mind, Cincinnati had major problems a few years ago, and they sat down, they worked with the community, worked with the police, and they were able to come up with some good solutions.
I understand exactly what you're saying, but the fact is police put their lives on the line.
That's
every
right. They had,
single
Bob.
How do you combine an appreciation of that with getting to the root of what you see and what I see as some very real
Bob,
problems?
no doubt about it. They have a dangerous job. I have a policeman in my family, and there's little room for error. But I think what we have to make folks realize is that we police realize it's not an us against them. And the community must realize it's not a us against them. It's us working together. And so trust has to be established. And there are three things that we've really got to do. We've got to look at tracking, first of all, to see how pervasive these problems are. Training to make sure that police are properly trained to address issues, and there may be issues where excessive force should not be used. And then we got to have accountability. All three of those things are so important. But the police have to understand that they need the community, and the community needs them. I practiced law for years, criminal law for years. I can tell you, Bob, you're not going to solve crime without the cooperation of the community. And so we've got to show that it's a win-win situation. I say police and community, it's not about moving to common ground. We're beyond that. We've got to move to higher ground, because this has got to be a win-win for everybody.
You have asked for congressional hearings. Will that really make a difference here? I mean, everybody's always investigating something, and do we need congressional hearings?
Bob, I really believe that we need to do it. We investigated the Affordable Care Act of 12 hearings, 3 dozen hearings. We need to look at this because this is something that affects a very significant part of our population. We need to deal with this, and we can deal with it, but we've got to sit down and say, okay, we've got to go in another direction. We've got to work together. And so, no, it will help. We need to, right after Ferguson, I sent a letter along with 130 leaders asking the president to establish a task force, which he has now done, asking him to look at the idea of body cameras. He has endorsed that. And so we're seeing movement already. I, along with Chairman Ranking Member Thompson and other ranking members, have asked the Speaker to pull together hearings, because the Speaker has already said that he thinks it's not a bad idea. Okay. So I think it will be helpful.
Well, I wish you the best on that.
I do too.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.